Happy to be taking over from Natalie. I will be with you for the next 2 hours as we continue to hear from designers around the world and explore leadership in design. Hello everyone, my name is Dorothy Boulade. I am Community Engagement Officer here at WDO. From our humble beginnings 65 years ago, we are proud to count over 180 organizations as WDO members. My work involves actively engaging members, helping them to connect with each other and internal and external stakeholders. In fact, I'm pleased to say that nearly 40% of the speakers that you've heard and will be hearing from today are WDO members. If you're an organization watching and interested in finding out more, please do contact me. I'll be happy to tell you more about membership. So, back to the program. I am pleased to introduce our next two speakers. Joining us from Finland, Dr. Stenros and Hannu Havusto. Dr. Stenros is a thought leader and an architect with a doctorate in technology. She has over 25 years' experience in creative leadership and strategic design. She is former design director of Cone Corporation and chief design officer at the city of Helsinki. She has had a professorship in creative leadership at the Aalto University, and currently she is visiting lecturer at the Globus University in Tokyo and Nagano University of Technology. She has participated as an expert in many different EU forums, and she was a WDO selection committee member for the World Design Capital 2022. Hannu Havusto is design manager in Hold Oy. Hannu's work consists of hands-on design work, as well as sales support, project management, and design process development. He has been working as an industrial designer for international companies, as an in-house designer, as well as a consultant. In addition to his primary job functions, Hannu is also the chairman of the Committee of Innovation Management Standards of Finnish Standards Association. Welcome, Anne and Hannu.
I'm happy to host this short section here. And as you can see, it's all about the lost and found design innovation. And I think that we will start with Hannu, your introduction, how you see the principles of design innovation within an organization and what are the stepping stones in that process. Please, Hannu.
Thank you. I think I'm sharing my screen.
At least I'm seeing it, but I'm not sure about the audience. Now I think, yeah, here it is.
Yes, we can see. We can see the screen.
Okay, good. First introduction to my presentation. I'm about the perspective or viewpoint of this presentation, and there is like a two elements or areas of design. First is this, in the picture, these big machines like Valmet paper mill machine and Raute veneer production line, part of that. And the other viewpoint is smart devices or smart products like this Trompia street sweeper, which is autonomously cleaning streets. And the design of these kind of products is very much different than like a consumer products. These big machines, there is not so much, you can't add there like any kind of design elements. It's the building blocks that you can use to make the design, the frames and walking ways and safety elements and that kind of things. And they are not like a personalized to a customer or user similar way than consumer products are. Of course, the design is very important there, usability and quality and safety and that kind of things, of course, and the brand values and that kind of things, but it is a different kind of area than consumer products. And also these smart products, they are many times closer to the user, and normal people while the big machines are professional tools and used by professionals in the factories, but these smart products can be on the streets, or they are part of your building automation at home and that kind of things. But they can't be designed as an individual devices, independent devices, because they are part of the bigger system. And in both of these areas, the designer is making like the final decisions alone what the design is. Designer is a part of the big group, and many kind of things has to be taken into account when these kind of things are designed. And then I took here this design thinking process, because this is what we use a lot when we are designing those kind of things. And I think that this audience, this is very familiar to everyone, or if it's not, you can Google it and find information from that. But this is, I like this model. This is very scalable. You can in 2 weeks explore things, define what is the problem and clarify, create some prototypes and test, and very easily you can clarify and make organize things and thoughts and ideas if that is a need. Of course, then if you really want to make innovations and design something really thoroughly, you can use the same model and coming back and iterate things and test and use it like a month, or in a company's design center, it can be like almost the continuing normal model when you are designing things. And one point here is that why do you do this kind of things is to clarify things, usually visualize things and make them more understandable. And it's kind of funny because just a couple of weeks ago I read that artificial intelligence can now create photorealistic pictures from text, and this is kind of the same thing what we are doing in this kind of processes. We are asking people and they are describing what they want and what they think, and then designers will visualize them and create models and concepts of those kind of written text or text-based information. In a way, I think that design thinking is, you could say that it is like a step backward to see the bigger picture, bigger perspective. It's very simple thing, and I've read some criticism that this is not a good model. You really can't create innovations using this kind of model, but I think that this is the model that people normally always use when they are making decisions. Like if you are planning a vacation trip, you have to first explore what is there, what kind of possibilities there are. You can ask your stakeholders like kids what they want, and take into account other stakeholders like pets and animals at home, or who will wet your plants and that kind of thing. Then you have some kind of idea what there is to or what possibilities there are, and when you choose some possibilities, you can read reviews and kind of test your ideas and that kind of thing. So it is a normal way of people to make decisions, and that's why at least I like it a lot. In my presentation, I have taken some tools or thinking models from the previous years, what we have learned when we are doing this job in our group, and I will go them through now. First is this kind of example of big picture visualization. This is the first thing what we usually do when we are going through design thinking process in a workshop. This is what you can see here is all the people, all the stakeholders, what are relevant in this task, and then we describe here like a flow, how information flows and things flows, and what's going on, what happens there, and the connections. This is a bit similar than what is the service blueprint in tool in service design or user journey, but we have here, you could say that we have all the users, all the stakeholders, and all the journeys that are relevant to this certain task or project. And this is very, very informative, and why this is good is not only the result, but also the discussions what we have when we are creating this. And usually many times there you can see that there raises some hotspots or areas that maybe we don't know enough, or we immediately see that this is the thing that we must concentrate and continue with our design. And usually we do this in a workshop where we have first discussed with the, let's say, our customer, and selected the suitable persons who are experts and who know and who can be used to create this kind of thing. So this is just an example of this big picture visualization. The next thing is what we have called design pipeline here, and this is the history of this visualization is back to, let's say, 15 years, when we had a customer who we were designing, or the project was to design and define, create scenarios for the future. And what we got from the customer as a briefing material was a different kind of documents about how they think their customers will change, and how technology will change, and how environmental requirements and legislation and that kind of things will change in the future. And it was really difficult to go all those Word documents and PowerPoints through, and then we started to think that how we can visualize or clarify the material, and we created this kind of like you can imagine there are like pipes with different things, and they will change in the future in a different speed, and you can think that you take like 5 years forward and imagine what the requirements will be there, and then visualize the scenarios of the product or service there, and so on for 10 years, and you can put different kind of pictures from the future, what you think will be, and use this model as a tell, let's say, internally, and to clarify for designers what are going to happen. And we also created this can be used like a user interface for interactive tool or application to clarify these things and to market internally your ideas. The next picture is this is when we have been creating design guidelines for companies, and usually for this kind of companies manufacturing those big machines, as I showed in the beginning. And this model is like a basis for those design guidelines, because the products are factory sites for products that consist of smaller modules, sections, and then those consist of smaller modules and independent products. And when you create a design guideline, there are different rules for different levels of these designs. In a line level, it is very simple, and the purpose is to create something that you can very easily see and see the process and see what's going on there. And it is there are not so much like details, and all the smaller components should fit to the bigger level module and or level, and as I said, there are like a different rules. The smaller things you go, the more details there can be, and you can use more like a design elements there. And these design guidelines they are very useful, not only to like define the product design, but also to as a managing tool to the company to guide how the design work is done there, and the processes and cooperation and so on. Then this picture, next picture is this is also first made, let's say, over 10 years ago, when I was trying to tell and explain companies that it is not possible to create innovations in your normal value chain, normal R&D projects, because there is no time. There is a tight schedule, and the next product must be launched after, let's say, 6 months or next year. But if you really want to be innovative, you have to have a different process and have a different resources and time there for that process. And to be able to run this kind of innovation process, you of course have to collect input, ideas and information and needs, which is here called this strategic intelligent management, like a silo or tank, and create forecasting there. And where you get this input material is of course customers and market trends and what's going to happen in the future, and technology and that kind of things. And there you collect this material and analyze it and use it as an input to this innovation process. And from this innovation process, the results are ideas, and those you can patent and use your IPR resources there. And to be able to run this kind of thing, the organization's management and leadership is the base and the most important thing. And they must evaluate the results and improve continuously what is not, if there's something to improve. Innovation process ideas, some of those you can almost immediately launch to customers, but usually they go as an input material for R&D projects, and you commercialize and develop them, the ideas there, to products. As in the introduction, you heard that I'm the chairman of the Finnish Committee of Innovation Standards, and those innovation standards that are first launched in Europe, and now they are coming from international organization. They have the same elements what you can see here. The innovation standards innovation management system is basically this picture describes the system quite well. And just for your information, I have this list of the innovation management standards. On the right side, there is the European standards that are now almost all withdrawn, and they will be replaced this international innovation management standards. And even though standard does not sound like a very interesting thing for designers, it's almost contradiction to that, but there is very useful information there. So I think that it's useful to take time and read those if possible. Then as a summary, kind of summary of this presentation, I have this picture that our colleague created when we were making design guideline for Valmet, and this describes in a kind of cartoon way what the design work in this kind of heavy metal industry is. There are of course user needs, brand values, and money, budget, what are like the inputs to this industrial designers process tank. And you can get energy from the collaboration with the other colleagues and other engineering and people there, other business areas and the colleagues, and you add some wow effect, and of course technology is something that you use to create the value what is coming here as a product in the end. So this is very much a collaboration and cooperation within the company and with all the experts, not only designers' own work, even though they are, of course, leading the design part of this process. And this final summary is just to make note that design thinking is the things that you can use in innovation and to create new products and value for the customers. And even though the tools and methods and processes are very important, the most important thing is of course the result, and it is this usable and well-designed product. So Anne, you have some.
Thank you, Hannu. Thank you. I was inspired by your metaphor about innovation journey. I underlined the journey because that was the way how I used to talk about design also when we created new products or new concepts while I was working at Kone. Now, but later I learned, I have counted that there are 8 different levels before the innovation appears. Namely, I can highlight here intuition, you know where you are heading as a creative, information that you collect all the time from your surroundings, inspiration, where you get that, imagination, you know the famous Einstein quote, for example, that it can take you anywhere, any place, insight, images, ideas, even invention sometimes comes before the innovation itself. So as a professional, how do you nurture your 8 levels before the real innovation appears?
Yeah, I fully agree of that, and I think that even though the processes and methods are very clear when they are shown in this kind of presentation, what I have shown here, but in normal working day, you don't follow those processes as you do many kind of things, and of course you have to think and discuss with colleagues and walk around in the city and see different kind of things and read books and see pictures and see competitors and new kind of things, and your brains are working all the time. And when you are like starting the new project and new challenge, of course first you almost night and day are thinking and seeing those things everywhere and learn. And so I think it is as you said, that many things happen before actual idea or concept is written or documented or visualized in any workshop or meeting.
But how do you think that we can make the industry or the business to understand that that it's the innovation is only a, how should I say, the peak of the iceberg or the top of the iceberg, and there's a lot of happening. Do you usually have enough room and time for that search based on your intuition and collecting information, etc.? How do you see that?
I think usually not. There are different kind of companies and customers, and some of those understand that kind of things, but many times we have to discuss and we have to show them what are the benefits and what is really the right way to do something, and it is not so simple. People are used to do things what they have been doing before, but I think that this has changed a lot. If I think about 20 years back or 30 years back, the world was really different that time. But now, for example, design thinking is a thing that is discussed and talked a lot, and more companies and experts are knowing what it means, and they also have some expertise of that, or they have experienced it by themselves.
And last but not least, Hannu, name one of your innovation, the best one. What it is? Tell me, please.
I don't know. I can't tell any product, but I think my best innovations are those when I'm trying to clarify things and creating those visualizations and for companies, and that is something that it is interactive. You get feedback, and it is something that when you can visualize something for a company or group of experts, they always say that it is, even though it is not very complicated, it can be very simple thing, and it helps a lot to continue with the project. And that's I would say that it is at least what I like to say to my best innovation.
Thank you, Hannu, Havusto. We are a little bit behind the schedule, so I think that we have to finish the innovation part.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hannu and Anne, for that insightful discussion exploring design, innovation, and leadership.